Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, man. Was Trump not amazing today? I want to go over the address to the nation that President Trump made earlier today, and then some highlights from the White House press conference with Carolyn Levit. And, you know, there's a common theme in Trump's second term. There's a few themes going on, but the one I'm talking about right now is a major theme of Trump's second term that covers so much of what it is that he does. And what it is President Trump is taking on things that we all know have been problems our whole lives in this country, but no one else did anything about, right? The southern border, the mass deportations, and this taking on crime in American cities. This country is, in many parts of it, is under siege from hardcore, terrible criminals, and no one does anything about it. And it's been going on for decades, and people talk about it all the time, in particular Chicago, but no one has done anything about it until Donald Trump. And I want to go through all this, starting with the president's address to the nation today from the Oval Office. And, you know, one thing, too, about President Trump that is, I like this a lot. In his first term, I don't think he ever addressed the nation from the Oval Office. And I remember thinking and talking about it at the time. He never talks to us from the Oval Office. I wonder what that's all about. And now he's in the Oval Office every day, and it's good, and it's important. So let me go through this. I'm going to start with the president's address to the nation, which is incredibly powerful. And this is in response to the train killing of the young Ukrainian refugee in Charlotte. And, you know, there's some more video was released. And it's sad. She did not die fast. She saw it coming, and it was a slow, painful, god-awful way to go. If you've seen the new video, if you haven't, you don't need to see it. I haven't watched the whole thing. You don't need to see the whole thing. I have to look at it a little bit because I talk about it. I need to be informed, and there's incidents that happen in time that change everything, right? There'll be something that happens. It may not be something unique, but for whatever reason, the country rallies behind it and things change. And this young girl, Ukrainian refugee, murdered by this Democrat on the train in Charlotte, North Carolina, is one of those moments in American history that is changing things. So let me play. This is the president in the Oval Office today.
Americans have been forced to put up with Democrat-run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people. Really very, very innocent people. In every place, they control radical left judges, politicians, and activists. And they've adopted a policy of catch and release for thugs and killers. In Charlotte, North Carolina, we saw the results of these policies when a 23-year-old woman who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train. And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman, a beautiful young girl that never had problems in life, with a magnificent future in this country. And now she's dead. She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. 24 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrat mayors. 50 people were murdered in Chicago in recent weeks, with hundreds being shot. And it's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order. We have proven that it can be done because we did it right here in D.C., in District of Columbia. The capital of America was a bloodthirsty, horrible, dangerous place, one of the worst. And now it's a crime-free city, and we're going to keep it that way. It can be done. It can happen fast. All we want is, please, Mr. President, we need help. Chicago needs help. Other cities need help. We'll do what has to be done because we're going to make America safe again, and that includes our big cities. We're going to make those cities safe. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, so I looked it up. The 20 cities in America, the top 20 high crime cities, the 20 cities in America that have the most crime, all but one of them are Democrat. One is Republican, and it's Baton Rouge. And what the left do, the liberal media, the Democrats, liberals, they're lying propagandists, psychopathic lunatics. And they're trying to make this, well, why doesn't it go into the Republican cities? Out of the top 20, there's one, Baton Rouge. And whatever's going on in Baton Rouge, it can't be anything like Chicago. I don't know what's going on there. We're going to find out because it's going to start to be looked at. But the 19 other out of the top 20 cities that have the highest crime rates are all Democrats. But you're supposed to look at the one, you know, and it's kind of like what the left do. The left have no integrity. They just don't. You know, what they do is they're trying to focus in on one Republican-run city. The mayor's a Republican. What the background and history of that city is, I don't know right now. I'm going to research it and find out, and others will, because this is a new thing that we've never dealt with before. We never really talked about taking on crime in America's cities, but because before Donald Trump, no one was going to do anything about it. You know? And it's a nonpartisan issue. These cities, all but the one, out of the top 20, they're all Democrats except one. All Democrat run. Democrat mayors except one. These aren't people that voted for Trump. These aren't his constituents. These aren't people that you see at the MAGA rallies. But they're still Americans. They're human beings, and we're trying to save them. President Trump wants to save these people. You know. And what do you have? You have the liberals trying to tell you that there's something evil going on here. I mean, look at this. You know, the mayor of Los Angeles doing these ICE raids. We got a Supreme Court ruling, and the Supreme Court ruling said that the president can stop people, that ICE can stop people and find out if they're in this country legally in Los Angeles. They can ethnically profile people. If there's somebody they think might be illegal, they can stop and ask them. And of course, the mayor of Los Angeles.
It really amounts to hunting people that look like they're Latino. It's hard to get your car washed in LA now. Why? Because they prey on car washes. It really.
Well, you know, who are the people working at these places? Are they illegal? Is your average car wash in LA that has Latinos working at it, are they typically illegal? You know, they're trying to make this a victim thing, and the victims are not the Americans who are being killed or victimized in some other horrible way, or even just they don't have a job because some illegal's taking it. The victims are the criminals from the liberal viewpoint. They're making victims out of the criminals themselves. You know, I got a lot of audio and video that I'm going to go through here on the program because I got a lot to cover. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'll get to the calls on the program maybe at some point. If you want to hang in there, you're welcome to do that. But, you know, our country has been so lost. And, you know, a lot of you out there, you say, oh, you guys are in a cult. You know, oh, you're a bootlicker. You know, you're this, you're that. the reason that we all support Trump the way we do is he is the first president of the United States that we have had in any of our lifetime, and even maybe in the lifetime of our parents. I don't know about grandparents because, grandparents were around in the 20s, and even one grandfather was born in the 1800s, so, But he's the first president that is doing things to make life better for Americans and doing things to directly help Americans. We've never had that before. Give me an example of that. Not even Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was a good guy and a good president, but his focus really was to help free the people of Russia from the Soviet state and free the people of Eastern Europe and such. It didn't improve our life when the Soviet Union fell, did it? It didn't stop these fake wars, the Cold Wars. They just found other wars. And he was, I'm not dissing on Reagan, but his primary focus was not on Americans or the American people. It was on European people, Soviet people, people in communist countries around the world, not us. This is the first president to do real things to help the American people and do it right and do it real quick in real time that we're experiencing. We've never had this before. And the Democrat Party has been taken over by people over the years that don't like the American people. They like people that are from elsewhere better than us for some reason. I mean, this is a great example. Did you guys catch this? Tom Homan, who is like Tom Homan and Stephen Miller are my two favorite people that work for the president. They're both awesome. I love them both. They're so cool. I mean, they're like my two favorite people in the Trump administration. Aren't they yours? And they're both equal. I mean, I can't say I like one better than the other because they do different things. And Mika Brzezinski here on Morning Joe, Mika Brzezinski, she's one of these Washington insiders. Her father was the national security advisor to President Carter. Okay, so her father's all involved in the Iranian hostage crisis and all that crap. So she's one of these political families that's part of the ruling class nobility, and Donald Trump's not a part of that nobility. And I don't know if you've seen this. Have any of you seen this video that Glenn Beck put out over the weekend about his conversation with Bush, G.W. Bush? Did you guys see this? I saw this over the weekend, and my first thought was, this is BS. I didn't believe that it was real. And my wife watched. She's like, no, I think it's real. And I think she's right. He talks about, he had said something, I can't remember exactly what it was, when George W. Bush was president. George W. Bush was plenty ticked at him and called him up and had somebody call him. But he summoned him to the White House. And he says, it doesn't matter who the president is. Okay, the people that handle the presidents, everything will be okay. And basically, it was a little more detailed than that. And Glenn Beck went on a very long... Have you seen this video? It's on YouTube. Glenn Beck talking about this. I saw it over the weekend, so I'm not sure if it was new over the weekend. It was new to me, but I saw it still it got recommended to my wife yesterday, so I think it's kind of recent. And basically, according to Glenn Beck, what George W. Bush told him is that presidents are figureheads to make the American people feel like we've got a role. So President Trump is not a figurehead. He's an actual working president who's taking charge. That's why they shot him in Butler. They can't handle that. They're not used to that. This country, who knows? Maybe it's always been that way. Maybe it's only been since, the Second World. I don't know. But I believe Glenn Beck when he told that story. Well, watch this. This is Tom Homan with Mika Brzezinski on Morning Joe on MSNBC.
I see on the show this morning you have Governor Healy talking about ICE doing enforcement operations at a church. Mm-hmm. False. Didn't happen.
They were parked there. They did not do an operation there. She said they were parked in a public space legally.
But to say that and to push that out there puts fear in the immigrant community. So let me tell you.
Okay, yeah, if you go to, I'm Catholic, so you go to Catholic church, there's a lot of Hispanics. They're all, especially in some of these areas, they're all Catholic. The Hispanics are Catholic. So they were reporting that ICE was running operations inside churches, pulling people out of churches and deporting them. And Homan here is calling her out on it.
That puts fear in the community. Right. To park the ICE agent's vehicle
They're on a
near
public
church.
street.
They're on a public
street.
She said
They're on a public street,
sir.
waiting to respond to a criminal alien release pulled aside the road. Let me tell you, in the last couple of days, what's happened in Boston. They've arrested Victor Gomez Perez, a 33-year-old criminal alien from Guatemala, with charges of aggravated rape, assault and battery with dangerous weapon, indecent assault and battery on a victim 14 years or younger. They arrested Kaylee Espinosa, a 33-year-old criminal alien from Colombia, with charges of aggravated assault on a pregnant victim. They arrested Joshua Gonzalez, a 23-year-old criminal alien from Dominican Republic, with charges for trafficking heroin, morphine, opium, resisting police, disorderly conduct, and drug distribution. They also arrested Samuel Armando Barrera, a 20-year-old criminal illegal alien from Guatemala, pending charges for assault and battery on a child. So Mayor Wu and Governor Healy, they ought to be calling ICE and thanking them for making their streets safer, for protecting their communities and taking these people off the street. They've turned a blind eye to this. They're sanctuary cities. Sanctuaries, cities and sanctuary states are sanctuaries for criminals. Give ICE access to the jail to arrest a bad guy in the jail rather than have to go in the community to find them. Because when you go in the community and find them, it puts ICE officers at greater risk. It puts the community at greater risk. It puts the alien at greater risk because anything can happen on a street arrest. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to prioritize public safety threats. But when you got governors and mayors who are releasing these public safety threats every day into the community, that causes the crime rate, and we've seen some terrible incidents in the last few days where innocent victims are murdered. This past year, I've seen innocent Americans raped and murdered by people who are not supposed to be here. So rather than going back and forth and say, well, ICE has got a car parked near a church, that is ridiculous. You're out there looking for people like this, exactly what they're doing.
Well, I would argue that actually that the ICE vehicle parked outside a Spanish mass is a frightening sight, given what has happened in this country.
Yeah, well, so's getting a knife stuck in your neck on a train. That's a frightening sight too, Mika. What an idiot.
I also, with respect, sir, thank you for the information that you have shared on this show, but we would appreciate all of the information, all of it, all of the data that you say you have.
I've done this show several times. Every time on your show, I speak with integrity, I speak with honesty, and I speak with facts. The bottom line is, because of all this false narrative, and you using the term disappearing people,
well,
is
that's
disgusting.
What's happened. That happened to the group that was sent to El Salvador.
U.S. citizens get arrested every day. U.S. citizens get arrested by police every day. Are they being disappeared? No, their laws are being enforced. They're being arrested. They're being put in detention because they committed a criminal offense.
Not like what you're doing.
Look at the, here with Mika. By the way, how much cosmetic surgery has she had? She's been on MSNBC since they went live. Look at her face. They've done so much pulling back, like the bottom of her face is gone. But look at the tone on her, the condescending tone she has, the arrogance, this snarky, condescending way that she is.
Not even close.
We're enforcing the law and arresting people here in violation of law that are public safety threats. That's not disappearing people. That's enforcing the laws of this country and making this country safer. I see.
Exactly. Tom Homan's awesome. I love, you guys love Tom Homan. I love Tom Homan. Now, big announcement from Mike Lindell at MyPillow. The MyPillow towels are back. The 6-piece MyPillow towel sets, they're $30 off with my promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. They're just $39.98. They're normally $69.98. That's a good deal. They were out of stock on the MyPillow towels for quite some time, and they are back. And they have 10 different colors. I have these towels. I dry off with them every day. They're the best towels you ever had. And remember, when you go to MyPillow.com, you can use my promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, on all the specials there. Plus, the free shipping offer is still in effect to take advantage of. And every time you use my promo code, you're supporting all of my content, my podcast, my YouTube channel, and, of course, the radio show. So go to MyPillow.com, use my promo code KANE at checkout, and load up, K-A-N-E. We'll be right back. Don't you hate it when you buy something online and then you get slapped with a huge shipping charge at checkout? Not at MyPillow.com. Right now, enjoy free shipping on all orders $100 or more when you use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout at MyPillow.com. This is your chance to stock up on unbeatable deals on everything site-wide. Soft sheets, cozy slippers, plush bathrobes, mattresses, mattress toppers, pet beds. It's free shipping on all orders $100 $100 or more. Order now at MyPillow.com and use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, for free shipping.
Tom Laporta here from Laporta Roofing. Homeowners, condo associations, and HOA communities are being threatened by their insurance companies to replace their roofs or lose coverage. We perform a full evaluation of your roofs, test the conditions of the materials, suggest repairs, set maintenance schedules, and write letters to your insurance companies. We are also state of Florida general contractors, which carry a lot of weight when dealing with insurance companies. We recently had a property management company call us to evaluate 2 multi-story condo buildings. Each were in aging condition. We performed a full evaluation, built a case with focused repairs and maintenance that the roofs had up to 5 years left. The insurance companies granted the associations additional time. Homeowners, condo, and HOA associations, give me a call at 954-604-4602 to set up an evaluation so we can help you with your insurance company. That number again is 954-604-4602 or find us at laportaroofing.com.
This is Dr. Philip Appleton. You guys have been hearing me on the radio for years, and everybody knows whoever comes to my office, I care about you 100%. We are treating auto accidents. In an auto accident, there's a lot of things that occur in an accident. Anywhere from headaches, neck pain, shoulder pain, arm pain, elbow pain, wrist pain, knee pain, elbow pain, sciatica. People use the word whiplash all the time. That's it for neck pain. Come in for an evaluation. Let me look at you. Let me evaluate you. And then we can go from there. Auto accidents, Uber, and Lyft accidents, we do take care of, and also slip and falls. So you have any issues, give me a call or come into my office. There's always no cost for the consultation.
Call Dr. Appleton and take advantage of that no-charge consultation right now. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. Online, AppletonCairo.com, and say bye-bye to your pain. All right, welcome back, everyone. If you're on hold, hang in there. They just released more of the video of the tragic murder of the girl on the train in Charlotte, North Carolina, killed by this Democrat who was free because of Democrats. And it's horrific. I'm sorry I saw it, but I had to watch it so I could talk to you about it. And when I first saw the video they released a couple days ago, and I think some of you probably assume this too, I figured she died right away because he stabbed her a couple of times in the neck. She didn't. It was a long death, and she bled out kind of slowly. She knew what happened. She knew she was gone, and she looked scared and terrified. And not one asshole on that train went over there and put their hands over her neck to stop the bleeding. I cannot imagine. The guy left. He stabbed her. He walked. There's blood everywhere. She's dying. And everyone stood there and did nothing. I understand them not getting in front of the knife. That's scary. Okay? I can give them a break on that. But you got a girl who's been stuck in the neck twice, and you just sit there and scroll through your phone. What the hell is the matter with the people of Charlotte, North Carolina? I could not imagine seeing something like that. The guy was already gone. There was no more danger. These are what a you know. I've been to Charlotte through the airport a bunch of times. I've changed planes in Charlotte, North Carolina many times. Haven't you? And it seems like such a nice town from the airport. They've got those rocking chairs and all that stuff in there all over the place that are so nice. Looks like a sweet town. It's a town of psychotic monsters. Democrats, that's what you got. I understand them not getting and intervening and risking their life with the knife. That's hard to believe that it happened, but I can see that. But nobody jumped over there and put their hands over her neck to try to stop the bleeding. I don't even know if any of them called 911 when they looked like they were doom scrolling, looking at their, reading text or going through X. I don't know what they were doing, to TikTok. What a bunch of terrible people. And I'll tell you another thing. Here in Florida, we've had a few tragedies in Florida that took the nation by storm, right? We had Parkland, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. We had that event in Orlando years ago. And we had Trayvon Martin in Sanford, Florida. When Trayvon Martin and all it happened, that was a one-person thing. The other ones were mass events. The entire, not just national, international media traveled to Sanford, Florida. Sanford is a tiny little town north of Orlando. And they covered everything. And they walked the walk and walked the path and showed where he parked and showed where he walked and showed the store and showed the survey, showed everything for months. Have you seen anyone in the media in Charlotte, North Carolina? Have you seen anyone in the media go to one of these trains to show us what they're like, what the people are like, how this happened? Has anyone in the media gone to Charlotte and shown what it was like on where she got on and then how long she was? And no, because they're not interested. And the media are pissed off that they have to report this. They were embarrassed into reporting it because conservative influencers like me were talking about it over the weekend when the video dropped. So I pulled this up because of these are the top 20 cities in America when it comes to crime, the high crime cities. All of them except one are Democrat run. Baton Rouge, Louisiana is a Republican city, and they have a high murder rate. Okay, they've had a lot of murders. I don't have the statistic in front of me, but it's a high murder number. But the other 19 of the top 20 are Democrats. Now, it doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat, but what's going on in Baton Rouge is bad, but it's certainly not Chicago or what Washington was. But it's bad. Yeah, we'll take care of that one too. Doesn't matter if they're Democrat or Republican, but there's one Republican city and 19 Democrats. These are the top 20 highest crime, violent crime cities in America. And the media are trying to make this into, well, we're going to go into the Republican cities? You mean the Republican city? Yeah, he's going to go in there. And what they're doing with this one Republican city out of the top 20 is like this lie that they tell with the big party switch, right, with the Dixiecrats. Every single racist Dixiecrat went back to the Democrat Party except one. Strom Thurmond became a Republican. The other 20-some went back to the Democrat Party. But they make it all, oh, look, they became Republicans. One became Republican. 22 others went back to the Democrat Party. Their big party switch lie. And they're doing the same thing with the cities. There's not red cities, there's a red city. Oh, my goodness. All right, let's get into Carolyn Levit today. I've got a few clips of her that I want to play. It was a very good press conference today. The president made his address to the nation first, and then Carolyn Levit came on, I don't know, an hour, 90 minutes later or so. And here is Carolyn Levit talking about the crime rate in these in the different cities.
Democrats have tried to argue that red states have higher crime rates while overlooking problems of high crime in blue cities. I'm wondering if the president would consider working with red state governors to fix high crime in blue cities like in Memphis, Tennessee.
So first of all, I want to get to the premise of your question, Reagan, which is being pushed by Democrats, that there is crime in red states. Of course, there is crime in all states, but the crime in these cities is all in cities that are run by Democrats. If you look at the list of the top 20 high crime cities in the United States, every single one, with the exception of one in Louisiana, is run by a Democrat.
That's Baton Rouge that I was telling you about.
And these Democrats have supported the same policies that I spoke about at the beginning of this briefing, like cashless bail. If you look at a red state, Mississippi, but a Democrat-run city in that state, Jackson, in 2019, Jackson, Mississippi eliminated cash bail for virtually all misdemeanor cases. And while Jackson is not formally a sanctuary city, the state of Mississippi formally banned sanctuary cities, and this city has acted as a de facto sanctuary city for criminals and illegal illegal aliens since 2017. Same thing, Birmingham, Alabama, a Democrat-run city in a red state. In 2017, the Birmingham City Council unanimously passed a resolution, quote, committing to establish sanctuary policies. So if you actually look at the facts from these Democrat-run cities, these are cities that are run by Democrats and by blue, by members of the Democrat Party. These are blue cities, and they have all supported these disastrous policies which allow repeated career criminals back onto the streets to further commit acts of violence. And so to answer your question, yes, the president wants to work with anyone across this country who wants to end these horrible policies and to bring law and order to our streets. And I think that is proven by his tremendous cooperation with the mayor of Washington, D.C. and our nation's capital.
There you go. I mean, isn't she great? She is by far the best press secretary we've ever had. And she may be the youngest. I don't know. If she, how old was Dana Perino when she was press secretary? She wasn't that good though. She was stupid, just like now. Now she's just arrogant, full of herself. But she was pretty stupid back then. But Caroline Levit is very, very good, isn't she? And she's always got the answer. They hate her. I mean, there's never been somebody this good. I mean, this is just incredible. Here she is. This is Caroline Levit. Caroline Levit. She's talking about the result of the federal police crackdown in D.C., which is the model. It's what President Trump was talking about, that they want to take to the other cities.
I do have some updates for you on the D.C. crime crackdown if anyone is interested. There have been a total of 2,177 arrests made since the start of the operation on August 7th. Just last night, there were 57 arrests made in Washington, D.C. Of the 57 arrests, there were 14 illegal aliens who were arrested, many of whom had prior criminal histories. And other arrests just last night in our nation's capital, so you all can be very grateful for this. Our great men and women of law enforcement, both federal and local, working together as they should, made an arrest on a warrant for assault with the intent to kill. The subject shot 2 adult males after an altercation. They made an arrest on a warrant for an armed carjacking. The subject assaulted an adult male in the face with a firearm and then took his keys. We also made an arrest on a warrant for simple assault and the destruction of property and subsequently charged with second-degree theft. Last night in D.C., there was an arrest for possession of a controlled substance with second-degree theft. There was an arrest for possession of a controlled substance with the intent to distribute that subject. The person is also a subject of interest in a homicide and a carjacking. Last night in D.C., we also arrested a felon in possession of a firearm who was carrying that firearm without a license. So these are the career criminals. These are the bad guys that we are picking up in Washington, D.C. every day. The president would love to do this in every Democrat-run city across the country, and he hopes that more Democrats will call the White House to allow us to help them.
Exactly. I mean, that's amazing. And, you know, in Washington, D.C., keep in mind, every Democrat in this country and every member of the fake news media did not want him to do what he did. Rid D.C. of this crime wave. All right, I'll take a call or two, but I got a lot to cover here. And I just want to tell you guys, you got to stay on topic, okay? We're talking about something very important. It is not open phones. You got to stay on topic or you're gone. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Charlie, and I'm calling from Virginia.
All right, Charlie, what's on your mind?
Hey, Brian. First of all, just wanted to compliment you on your work. I was just calling in to ask what you thought about the recent releases of the apparent alleged birthday note to Epstein, whether you thought that was Trump's handwriting.
I'm going to get into that a little later. What I think about it is what the White House said. No, it's not his handwriting, and he's suing the newspapers for releasing this slander. That's what I think.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? Exactly. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
You know, I don't mean to argue with you about Baton Rouge, but the problem is the mayor's a Democrat, the councils are Democrat, and the police chief's a Democrat.
They're saying it's a Republican city in Baton Rouge. I looked it up. It said let me look up who that. Let me look this. Let me just do a quick lookup. Okay, Baton Rouge mayor. Okay, just let me look it up. His name is Sid Edwards, right? Yeah, Sid Edwards, the mayor of Baton Rouge, and he's a Republican. I'm looking at it right now. It says the mayor of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, is Republican, Sid Edwards. I don't know about Baton Rouge. I don't know. I've never, but they say that out of the top 20 high crime cities, Baton Rouge is the Republican one. And when I saw that, I did look up, and they have a Republican mayor.
Right, and the thing with Baton Rouge is it has been a high crime area, particularly in certain areas. But again, like most cities, it's been Democrat forever. Though this guy notwithstanding, it's been Democrat forever. The previous mayor tried to defund the police, and the police chief stood up against it at the time, and she appointed a police chief.
Yeah.
So.
But we've got out of the top 20 high crime cities, they're all Democrat except one. And they want to focus on the one Republican. Give me a break. Give me a break.
Yeah, give me a break. I mean, they're not focusing on the whole that is New Orleans,
That's right. Yeah. All right, I appreciate the call. Take care, man. All right, good call today from Mike from Louisiana. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Sean from Massachusetts.
Hey, Sean.
Well, these Democrats, the only reason why they get upset about the crime is because their constituents, this is who they use to get, to whatever edge they think they're going to have. And now that Trump has gone in there and disrupted the whole thing, rightfully so, and they are just panicking beyond belief. The system has collapsed, and Trump's going to clean up everywhere.
That's right.
And it's almost like the fates have reached out. When these things are happening, this is just a calling for Donald Trump. I mean, everything that's been happening.
It's true.
We're seeing. I mean, the events. I mean, after when Trump started this adventure, we're going to start seeing more things happen like this, and it's just more. It's just accentuating the point. Unfortunate incident.
Well, this new extended video of the murder on the Charlotte train. I mean, I just it's not that it made it better, but I just assumed she died right away because she was stabbed in the neck, and she didn't. It took her a long time, and not one. And he got up and left, and not one person jumped up to put their hand over the neck to try to keep the blood in her. I didn't even see anybody move. I don't even know if they called 911.
Well, I mean, from what I saw, it took a long time for anybody to even go down to the end of the train.
There were people sitting back there, though, where she was at.
Right, the indifference of these people, and that's the scariest part.
I can understand when a madman gets up with a weapon, being scared and shocked and not getting in front of it. I mean, you got family. Right, I'm not saying that's right. I know everybody say I'd be there. I don't know if you would for a stranger. I don't know. Maybe we'd all like to think so, but I can understand that to an extent. But when the killer's gone, okay, and someone has two puncture wounds in their neck, and the blood's pumping out with every heartbeat. And no one jumped over there to help. I've never seen anything like that. All this deal was made about this soy boy father that gave the baseball back to the Karen at the Marlins game over the weekend. This is worse. I've never seen such uncaring, sadistic citizens like that before. I mean, I've seen things happen in Paul. Once I was at a grocery store when I was younger, and the guy had a heart attack on the frozen food aisle. People intervened and helped. I mean, I've seen things. I've seen things happen. I've never seen something like that. What's wrong with the people of Charlotte, North Carolina? I'd be embarrassed if I was in Charlotte. I'd be, here in Florida when we had the Parkland shooting. Okay, there was the police department that went inside the building. That wasn't their jurisdiction. They were from a neighboring city. They showed up there was a lady captain who wouldn't let her officers go in, and it was her jurisdiction. And the officers from the neighboring city went in. There was one guy who was a cop off duty. He was in flip-flops and sandals watering the grass out in the baseball field. He borrowed a gun and borrowed a vest and went in at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. You know, and if you remember, before the police got there, 2 unarmed coaches went in there to try to save students.
Yes, sir.
And on this train, this happened. You know, and I know a lot of people are talking about Daniel Penny today. Yeah.
Yeah, that name is I'm hearing a lot of him too because of what the heroic act of him. And I think, you know, these people, I don't know what these people, there's 4 or 5 people that were sitting around when this event happened, and I don't know if they were just comatose, if they were just desensitized, or I don't know what's in these people that just sit there and just do nothing after the act of that. And then now I'm just finding out from you for the first time that she died slowly. I heard she died quickly. It's not the truth. And
no, they released some new video. They released some more of the video, and it's sad.
Yeah.
I mean, she knew exactly what was going on.
And I failed to mention yesterday on the phone, I was going to say, you know, how many different ways this could be prevented. Another thing is that he didn't have to pay for his ticket to get on that train. They don't, when they go into a certain line, on that line over in Charlotte, I was looking at where this was, once they get to like the hood area, they just let these derelicts go in on.
Oh, really?
The train,
oh, my goodness. Well, that needs to stop. That needs to stop. Hey, appreciate the call. My goodness. My goodness. It's a sad thing. It really is. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Hey, everyone. We're joined by Joe Thomas. You know Joe Thomas. He's with me on the radio all the time talking about annuities. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Good morning.
Hey there. You know, annuities are absolutely amazing. I tell you all the time, I've heard about annuities my whole life, and until I met you and you explained them to me, I didn't understand what they were and how great they are. For people that don't know anything about annuities, can you tell them what an annuity is and why they should have one?
So basically, you have car insurance for your car. You have home insurance for your home. Okay? You have life insurance for life. This is basically insurance for your money. It protects your money through an insurance company. So you can't lose money if you invest with the type of annuities that we provide.
When you say you can't lose money with an annuity, no matter what happens in the stock market could tank today or tomorrow, you're not going to lose any money. Why is that?
Because the insurance company protects your interest. It's an insurance product and not a securities product. So people don't understand the difference between directly investing in the market. You have the upside potential, unlimited, but you also have the unlimited risk potential if the market goes down. But with an annuity, it protects the downside where you can't lose any money. Now, the only way you can lose money, disclosure, is if you surrender an annuity early. Let's just talk about that. If you do cash it in early, well, you have a surrender charge. If you don't cash it in early, you don't have a surrender charge. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. Now, another thing about annuities that I find absolutely amazing is how you have this guaranteed income stream in your retirement. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So when people do retire, they have this thing called a 401k. And the problem with a 401k is that it basically doesn't give you anything to turn into income. It's an accumulator. You accumulate money. And then when you turn 65 or 66 or 67, they don't tell you how to get income. So what an annuity does is it converts that 401k into income. And then the income stream with an income rider provides income for the rest of your life as long as you live and your spouse's life.
Yeah. So when you retire, you have your 401k. You have 2 choices, right? You can cash it out and start eating up your principal, or you can take it, put it in an annuity, keep all that money, but have a revenue stream coming in every month.
Exactly. And the insurance company assumes your risk. The risk is that you live too long. The insurance company has to keep paying you. It's a contractual obligation that they have to keep paying you for life. Lifetime income.
That's right. Now, Joe Thomas offers free phone consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you are in the United States. And when you talk with Joe Thomas, he's going to put together a custom proposal just for you based on your situation, your goals. These are not cookie cutter, okay? This is very specific to you, and everyone's situation is different. Give Joe Thomas a call. His number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And online, JupiterJoe.com. All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast. Thanks for tuning in. If you're new, this is where MAGA comes to talk. So just to catch up, if you're just joining us on the live stream, we started playing the president's address to the American people today from the Oval Office about this horrific incident on the train with the murder of the Ukrainian refugee. And I'm going through some of the clips from Caroline Levit's press conference today. Here she is talking about the incident. I think this might have been her best press conference today. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll go back to the calls in a bit. If you'd like to call in and you're watching live, the toll-free number is pinned in the live chat.
Today, I would like to address the tragedy that has not received nearly enough media attention: the brutal murder of Irina Zarutska. Here are the facts that many outlets have shamefully and intentionally failed to report until President Trump drew attention to it. On August 22nd, Irina Zarutska was stabbed to death on the rail system in Charlotte, North Carolina, by a savage career criminal. This is a public transportation system that many in the area use every single day to go to school and work. Irina was on the train that night traveling home from her job at a pizzeria, still in uniform from her shift. This beautiful, innocent 23-year-old young woman was a Ukrainian refugee who had recently fled her country for a chance at a safer life and a promising new beginning here in the United States of America. But tragically, a public transportation system in a major American city was more dangerous than the active war zone that she left.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. If she would have stayed in stayed in Ukraine, which they're trying to make Russia, if she would have stayed in Ukraine, would she be alive today? Probably. But Democrats killed her here in America. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Robert. I'm calling from the Missouri Ozarks. I'm down near Ozark, Missouri.
All right,
near Springfield.
Why are you recording the call?
Sorry. That was my cheek hitting something. I don't know. Hold on.
No, I'm not. That's all weird. I'm not going to get involved. Whatever he wants to talk about, it said your call will be recorded. I'm not. No, sorry. All right, let me get back to Caroline Levit.
The president and the entire White House are praying for her family and friends during this unimaginably difficult time. But while we extend our thoughts and prayers, we must also seek justice for this crime and call attention to this heinous incident. Surveillance video of the killing was finally released to the public this past Friday. It shows the alleged killer, DeCarlos Brown Jr., pull out a knife, get up from his seat behind Irina, and prepare to thrust a blade into her neck before the released footage gets cut. This is pure evil on full display.
No doubt.
The most enraging and unacceptable part of this story is that her death was entirely preventable. DeCarlos Brown never should have been on that train that night. In fact, he should have been behind bars. DeCarlos Brown has been charged with crimes no fewer than 14 times, dating back to 2011, including for armed robbery, felony larceny, breaking and entering, and shoplifting. Brown had previously served 5 years in prison for a robbery with a deadly weapon charge, and he had also forfeited bonds 3 different times, twice in 2014 and once in 2023. Despite all of this past documented criminal history, when Brown was arrested yet again in January of this past year, a Democrat judge, I will add, was a strong supporter of former Vice President Kamala Harris, released this insane criminal once again without requiring him to pay any bail. He simply had to sign a written promise to return for his court hearing. Think about how crazy it is to ask a career criminal, someone who by definition repeatedly breaks the law, to just sign a written promise and come back again another day. This is madness. This monster should have been locked up, and Irina should still be alive.
That's right.
But Democrat politicians, liberal judges, and weak prosecutors would rather virtue signal than lock up criminals and protect their communities.
Yeah, I mean, how many people are dead because of Democrats in this country? Forgetting about the million Americans who are dead from the Civil War that the Democrats are responsible for. But I'm talking just now in our modern time. Let's just stick with the 21st century. And I want to say, by the way, I have 2 live streams going on. If you're watching on the live stream where you see the green screen behind me and you see the green, if you go to my main live stream on my YouTube channel, you can see and hear all the video and get all the effects of the green screen, just so you know. So if you just click on my channel there and go to the main stream, you get all the effects of the green screen over there, all right? So check that out. But, yeah, Lincoln Riley is dead because of Democrats. This poor Ukrainian girl is dead because of Democrats. I mean, it's never ending. It is the Democrat Party is a party that is just responsible for an unknown number of deaths in our country. You wouldn't be able to put a number on it. The 50-some-odd shot up in Chicago, brought to you by Democrats.
And perhaps most shamefully of all, the majority of the media, many outlets in this room, decided that her murder was not worth reporting on originally because it does not fit a preferred narrative. Many of the journalists in this room spilled plenty of ink trying to smear Daniel Penny for defending a subway car from a deranged lunatic in New York City, but none of those same reporters lift a finger to write stories about an actual murderer.
Yeah, if Daniel Penny was on that train, she'd be alive today.
Here is the truth that every American must know. Too many innocent people across the country continue to pay the price of the failed experiment known as cashless bail that has been championed by the Democrat Party for years.
Yep.
All the way back in 2020, North Carolina's then Democrat Governor Roy Cooper established a so-called task force for racial equity in criminal justice. Sounds nice, but it's not. That task force was co-authored by then Attorney General and current Democrat Governor Josh Stein. It recommended, quote, reimagining public safety to, quote, promote diversion and other alternatives to arrest. It also advised to de-emphasize some felony crimes, prioritize, quote, restorative justice, and eliminate cash bail. Democrats in North Carolina and nationwide are consumed with pushing a woke, soft-on-crime agenda, no matter how many innocent Americans suffer as a result. Instead of aggressively prosecuting and locking up violent criminals, the Democrat-backed cashless bail approach lets these criminals roam free in our country to offend again and again. These reckless policies have turned too many of American cities into hunting grounds for career criminals who mock our justice system, drain law enforcement resources, and wreak havoc on law-abiding citizens. Enough is enough, and that is why President Trump is doing everything in his power by taking action to undo these absurd policies.
Yeah, I mean, what are you hearing here that you could disagree with? You know, since when did ending crime become a partisan issue? I was so impressed with Caroline Levit today. It really shows you the competency of the entire Trump administration. This second term is one of the most historic presidential terms in history, if not the most historical.
The president recently signed a powerful executive order directing the AG to submit a list of states and local jurisdictions with cashless bail policies so that the Trump administration may identify federal funds that are being provided to these states and can potentially be suspended or terminated. President Trump firmly believes that to maintain order in public safety, we must incarcerate individuals whose pending criminal charges or criminal history demonstrate a clear, ongoing risk to civil society. This is a common sense and sensible approach that the vast majority of Americans agree with, and it's time for the Democrat Party to get on board with what is right. When these criminals are caught, they must be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law and be sent to prison, where they can no longer terrorize our streets. This is the mandate the American people delivered to President Trump, and it's a mandate he intends to fulfill.
Yeah,
Today,
she was just on fire today. You know, and it's really, we're in a very sad position in the country right now, because what President Trump is advocating for is so universally good. And this Trump derangement syndrome that's inside the bones of the media and the liberals, it just can't get them to say, hey, ending crime's a good thing. You know, with, the reference to Daniel Penny. Look at what they did to Daniel Penny, a vigilante. They put him on trial, tried to put him in prison. It's a miracle he's not in prison. And then here we have a train killing. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ. ICE is pretty active in Boston.
Yes, glad. Very, very, very glad. the more the merrier, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
It's the North Carolina. That's just so sad.
Have you seen the new video that I've been referencing? That it took her. What's your thoughts on how no one on the train after the killer left, no one jumped up to try to stop the blood from pumping out of her neck?
It's just. I think it's a. Look, I'm 62 with a cane. If I saw that guy doing that, I would have been, I would have been as good as I once was for a good 30 to 60 seconds, and that's all it would have taken. I just think it's the younger generation. I just can't imagine seeing somebody do that. I mean,
really? Do you think? Let me ask you. Do you think if a white man had done that to a black woman, you don't think anybody on the train would have intervened?
I don't. You know what? I just think that they were, that they're scared to death. Myself, I mean, listen, I see something like that happen, and my first reaction is to jump, is to go football, is to go crazy on the guy. I mean, we're talking about that knife. I mean, the guy had the.
I know you got a cane. Bat Masterson had a cane, right? You could be like Bat Masterson.
Yeah.
But listen.
Well, I could have done damage to the guy. No, I would have done damage to that guy.
Like I said, I can give people a pass for not intervening with the guy with the weapon. We all have family. We have wives. You got husbands. You got kids. You got grandkids. I can. But after this new video, I thought she died pretty much right away, and she didn't. It was slow. And
911. I'm putting pressure on it. I'm taking my shirt off.
I didn't see anyone call 911. It seemed like they were just going along with the train ride when it ended. What I saw.
It was pretty damn. I mean, the whole thing, all of it is just, and then it's sickness from the guy, and all the times he could have been put away, and the people what they did, and the media not reporting it, and they don't want to report it because it fits right into what Trump has been saying, that the crime is crazy. Oh no, crime is down. Well, if you've got 2,000 people on the police force and you defund 2,000 of the police, the Democrats have solved crime, ladies and gentlemen, because nobody's reporting any crime.
Fewer arrests. What the statistics show are fewer arrests, not less crime.
Exactly. The reported crime. I mean, it's just the way that they do the math and statistics, and the people that believe it, like the idiot we talked about with the $500,000 in Rikers. But I was going to tell you about. I was waiting when I heard about Baton Rouge. I'm like, I was waiting for Mike from Louisiana. And the thing is, that guy, I think you looked it up, the guy's name was Sid something.
Yeah.
But the mayor, it's just strange the way they do things there in Louisiana. But the mayor, I think it's called the mayor president or something.
Yes, it's some. I don't understand how. They got in Louisiana, they still have some old French laws and crap going on there. It's very strange.
Yep. Well, the lady's name prior to him, this guy just took over in January, Brian. The mayor prior to him.
Okay, well. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry about that. Yeah, go ahead. He just took over in January.
Sharon Western Broom was the name of the mayor president prior to that, and she's as Democrat, deep as you can get, and she's now she's president of the National League of Cities. I mean, so as far as basically this guy's coming in after the storm. This guy Sid's coming in after the storm. And he's like, please, Mr. President, come down here and help me clean up this Democrat mess.
Yeah.
Because that's what Baton Rouge is, a Democrat city. It's just been it's like Trump coming in after Biden. This guy's coming in to Baton Rouge after the Biden.
Well, if he's really a Republican, if you notice, the president keeps saying, "Ask me to come in." He understands he can't go in. And if you remember, President George W. Bush, he couldn't send FEMA in until the governor asked. After Wilma, remember that?
Yep.
So he's trying to obey the letter of the law by saying, "Hey, call me in, I'll be there." That's why he keeps saying that.
Yeah, I think Sid. I don't know. All I know is that Sid is definitely a Republican, and he took over from this lady who was a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got 8 years of her being a Democrat, trying to defund.
Listen, none of us know the internal politics of Baton Rouge. Nobody usually follows.
Yes.
I know a lot of people are going to read some Wikipedia and a couple things and act like they're experts. And we'll, but even if it's
my expertise on it is just that one was 8 years a Democrat, and now we have a. I know Baton Rouge as a whole. They have parishes. They don't have counties. They've got all the French.
But
the history
even if. Okay, even if Baton Rouge has been a Republican city for 200 years, it's only one out of the top 20, right?
Exactly.
I mean, it's an exception. Yeah. It's the exception to the rule.
Yes.
But even
Democrats they're I can just see that. This is what they say, cities. I mean, I love Caroline. I love Sweet Caroline. She is so good. She's like, I've got to let me correct you. Because cities, no, city.
City, city. Yeah, exactly. All right, good to hear from you. Take care. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name is Holden, and I'm Holden. I'm from Gainesville.
Okay, Gainesville, Florida. What do you go to UF or something?
Yeah, I go to a university here in town. It's called Santa Fe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, so are you like supportive of Trump's?
Hell yeah, I support everything Trump does. Absolutely. If you don't you see what I'm wearing? I'm wearing an alligator Alcatraz shirt and a Trump 2028 hat. I mean, I don't. So what? Hold on. So I'm MAGA. Yeah. Yes, I'm MAGA. Absolutely. MAGA for life.
Okay, cool. So obviously you feel very strongly. So can I, you obviously you support Trump's tariff policy.
I support every policy of Donald Trump's. You don't have to
so
go through a list. Whatever he does, I support.
Sure. What do you like about his tariffs?
Well, I'm not talking about tariffs. I'm talking about the crime wave that's going on. Are you smoking?
Okay.
Are you smoking? I heard some exhale. What do you got? You got a vape there or something, or you got some weed? What are you smoking?
No, I just saw your stream and it said call in, and I saw you're wearing a Trump hat.
I heard you exhale, so it sounded like you were smoking.
No. No. My phone just connected to my car, so I lost what you said on the very first part.
Yeah, I said I support all of Trump's policies. Whatever policy he supports, I support everything he does.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Including his tariff policy.
Okay, cool. If you don't want to talk about the tariffs, that's fine.
I talk about it all the time, but I'm talking about the crime wave. He's ridding American cities of crime. That's a good thing.
Okay, yeah, I don't really have much to say about that.
Well, you should. I'll say this to you before you go, because you're calling me from Gainesville, Florida. I'm in South Florida, okay? And long before you were born, there was a crime wave in Gainesville. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
The Gainesville killer, Danny Rawlins. You ever heard of him?
Never heard of him.
Really? How long have you been in Gainesville?
For almost like a decade.
You're not aware of the serial killer that was killing the students at the University of Florida in Gainesville?
Nope. Never heard of
Holy
it.
crap. Well, there was a serial killer in Gainesville. His name was Danny Rawlins, the Gainesville killer. And in Gainesville, they know how to handle criminals. It's not like Chicago. There was an immediate. I am in shock. All right. Oh my goodness. Ask one of your professors. Oh my good. Thanks for the call. Boy, oh boy, that's sad. He's lived in Gainesville for 10 years. He doesn't know about the serial killer that was up there. But my point of that was, here in Florida, we had a serial killer. Do you know what happened when there was a serial killer at the University of Florida? You guys, I'm not talking. He never heard of him. The kids that went to the University of Florida is a big school. It's there. Basically, it shut down. Everybody brought their kids home from college, or they transferred to Florida State or another school. And then there was a statewide investigation and a manhunt looking for the serial killer. We didn't say, oh, well, a few people got killed. And he was a pretty brutal serial killer. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But it stopped, and they eventually got him. Okay, because we don't, Gainesville, Florida is not Chicago, where we say, 53 people shot over the weekend. Oh, well, hey, there's a lot of people here, so statistically, you're not going to get hit. That's why, like, when you're in a Republican state and there's people getting killed, we stand up and do something about it and stop it from happening. But if you're in a dim city, that's life. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Patrick, Montana.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you say to the fact that red states have a 33% higher crime rate in both 2021, 2022, and that had been 22 years in a row?
Yeah. What do I say to that? You want to hear? You ready? You know what I say to that?
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
So you only believe facts if they are said
well,
by,
red states. Caroline Levit talked about this today. Red states have something in them called blue cities, and what happens? Blue cities and red states throw off the statewide statistics. Like in Louisiana, they've got New Orleans.
Blue states have blue cities. You realize that too. And,
yeah, that's why they're dangerous.
That states that voted for Donald Trump have a 24% higher murder rate.
So what does that? That's all BS. There are Democrat-run cities in Republican states, and they have higher crime.
Then why aren't the blue cities in blue states making the blue states higher?
Nothing you're saying makes sense. Nothing you're saying makes sense.
Everything I'm saying makes sense.
If you're stoned, if you're high.
I'm not.
I know. Hey, oh boy. All right, let's get back to Caroline Levit. This is, she's talking about the southern border here. This is from her press conference today.
New preliminary data released today by Customs and Border Protection in August shows that President Trump has delivered the most secure border in American history. For the fourth straight month, 0 illegal aliens were released into the United States by CBP. Nationwide encounters are down 93%, below the peak of the Biden administration. Border Patrol apprehensions on the southwest border in the entire month of August were less than what was apprehended in 4 days in August 2024 under the Biden administration. President Trump has ended disastrous Biden illegal alien invasion, and he sealed our border in record time, keeping this central promise he made to the American public.
Yeah, and remember, the border's been shut down for months now. Biden said they couldn't do it. They needed to pass some new law. They didn't do it. They got everything. And it's done. The drugs aren't coming in. The sex traffickers are out of business, all because of Donald Trump. How many people are alive or have not been victimized because of President Trump's election and this glorious second term? It's hard to put a number on it, but it's a lot. Okay. Oh, yeah, this was great. The Supreme Court ruling that President Trump and ICE can do what they got to do in Los Angeles.
This administration is focused on the detention and deportation of illegal alien criminals who broke our nation's immigration laws. And the Supreme Court upheld the Trump administration's right to stop individuals in Los Angeles to briefly question them regarding their legal status, because the law allows this, and this has been the practice of the federal government for decades. And the Immigration and Nationality Act states that immigration officers can briefly stop an individual to question them about their immigration status if the officer has reasonable suspicion that the individual is illegally present in the United States. And
yeah, exactly. And it's like, a police officer can pull you over while you're driving down the road if they have some reasonable suspicion and ask you for your driver's license.
Reasonable suspicion is not just based on race, it's based on a totality of the circumstances to review. And I will tell you, I spoke to our border czar about this morning. When ICE goes out to conduct a targeted operation to deport illegal criminals from our community, they are doing so with intelligence. They are doing so with law enforcement sources. They are doing so, in most cases, with the backing of local law enforcement who know exactly where these illegal alien criminals and drug traffickers and drug dealers are hiding in plain sight in American communities. And the men and women of ICE are doing everything they can to not only follow the law, but to enforce the law. And it's about time that has happened, because we had 4 years of an administration who completely ignored and evaded our nation's very clear immigration laws, and the Supreme Court has reaffirmed that.
Yeah. They're not just stopping people because they're Hispanic looking. I mean, if, they could tell who the illegals are and who they're not by looking at them in most instances. Not all, but in most instances. They know what they're doing. They're professionals in law enforcement, and they can do it. And then if they stop somebody and they're a citizen, they get to go on their merry way. Right? I'd mentioned I had lost my driver's license. I just got a new driver's license. Just got it yesterday. If a cop stops me, I got to produce ID and show him who I am. If I'm in my car, I got to show my proof of insurance and my registration on top of my photo ID. You hear me complain? How dare you? I just show it to them. That's the way it is. Oh, boy. Here is Caroline Levit talking about this forged letter with the forged signature of President Trump on it.
In fact, I have already seen many forensic analysts of signatures coming out. I believe it was the Daily Signal that published a piece with 3 separate signature analysts.
Now, keep in mind, this is the forged Epstein letter.
In fact, I have already seen many forensic analysts of signatures coming out. I believe it was the Daily Signal that published a piece with 3 separate signature analysts who said that this absolutely was not the president's authentic signature. And we have maintained that position all along. The president did not write this letter. He did not sign this letter. And that's why the president's external legal team is aggressively pursuing litigation against the Wall Street Journal, and they will continue to.
Yeah, right. That's right. So the Wall Street Journal, they published that lying letter, and they're going to get sued. Now, I want to tell you guys, if you'd like to support my program and all my content, go to MyPillow.com, use my promo code Kane at checkout. There's huge savings. You can save up to 80% off of top MyPillow products with my promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, at checkout. And as you can see on YouTube, the free shipping offer is still in effect. And I have so many of these products. The premium MyPillow, just $24.98. Normally $69.98 with my promo code Kane at checkout. The premium MyPillow, it's the luxury MyPillow. It has that patented fill inside, but the material on the outside is that high quality 100% Giza cotton. And as I said, you can use my promo code Kane on all the specials at mypillow.com. The MyPillow that started it all, I have these pillows too, just $19.98 with my promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. And big announcement, the 6-piece MyPillow towel sets are back in stock. And they're just $39.98 with my promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. The regular price is $69.98, so they're $30 off. And the free shipping offer is in effect. Remember, you can use my promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, at checkout at mypillow.com on all the specials you see there. And there's great deals. All right, so let's take another call or two, then I have more to share from Caroline Levit. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm from Arkansas. My name's Jim. You were talking about how you could tell, ICE agents could tell the difference between legal and illegal.
Profiling.
So
yeah.
How is that?
Well, I'll tell you. When I was younger and uninformed and, young and dumb like you.
Well, you're assuming I'm dumb. You don't even know what side of this I'm on. I'm asking.
No, you're young and dumb. You're dumb. Yeah, I could tell. I used to be a
I mean, it's beats old and dumb like you, I guess.
What?
I said beats old and dumb like you're a fucking dumbass.
Okay. Class act, too. Class act. He hung up. See, I used to, when I was younger, He hung up. But I'll explain this to you guys. He's watching because he wants to hear his, comments on the program. I used to be opposed to the profiling when I was young and uninformed. But I was doing this. I've been doing what I'm doing now since I was like 19 or 20, and I'm 54 years old now, right? And I realized one day, and you notice this, sometimes I'll reference it. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes you'll hear me say something like, "Oh, here we go," or something, or "Oh, we're gonna have to get the dump button ready, Mike." There's gonna be some. I realized that when I take a call on the air, by the first syllable out of the mouth of the person, no matter who they are, I know like everything about them. I know if they're liberal or Democrat. I know if they're white or black. And I realize just with sometimes less than a syllable, I could tell this. And I realize with experience, profiling is a part of what you do. And then I realized police officers, law enforcement, they have a lot of experience. So they know a lot about people based on all kinds of factors too. And I realized that many years ago when I was younger. And that's, why I knew as soon as that guy, I said, "You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?" By the first mumble out of his dirty mouth, I knew he was a Trump-hating liberal Democrat punk. All right, and was I right? Exactly. Okay, now I want to share this clip. And this is one. Let me play this for you.
Mike Johnson came out and said that the president was an FBI informant. Do you know what he meant by that, if it's not true?
I can affirm that is not true. I think the speaker was referring to the fact that President Trump kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago property for reasons the president has already discussed. Okay.
Now, on Friday, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson said that President Trump was an FBI informant who was working with the FBI to bring Jeffrey Epstein to justice. And this clip I just played from the press briefing, you heard what Caroline Levit said.
Mike Johnson came out and said that the president was an FBI informant. Do you know what he meant by that, if it's not true?
I can affirm that is not true. I think the speaker was referring to the fact that President Trump kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago property for reasons the president has already discussed.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you, because I've been talking about Trump being an FBI informant since Friday, right? Did a whole show on it, and I've referenced it pretty much every day since then. I still hold to that. I think what happened is that the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, out of his frustration, dropped mistakenly classified information about the president being an FBI informant. And the president doesn't want people to know that he was an FBI informant for a number of reasons, I can imagine. He's involved in a lot of confidential discussions and things and meetings with people, and he wants people to know that they can trust him, that they can trust his confidence. He doesn't want people to know that he was working with the FBI undercover to bring down Jeffrey Epstein. So no, I believe that I saw Mike Johnson say it. He said it with passion. I think he was frustrated and he blurted out some classified information. Boom, just like that. That he wasn't supposed to. All right, let's take a few more calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes. Oh, you're calling for your friend that you were giggling on the phone with a minute ago. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, see, am I not good at the profiling? Right, exactly. All right, appreciate the call. That was the girl giggling next to the last guy. Am I good? All right, I'm good. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? See, that's why I support profiling.
My name is Keith,
Oh, here.
and I'm calling from Longmont, Colorado.
All right, Colorado. What's up?
Brian, never done cocaine. How you doing, my man? So you're in a good mood because crime is down and crime is bad, yes?
I don't understand anything you're saying, and I'm not really interested in it either. Oh my goodness. Oh my. What kind of country are we in? Really, if you're on hold, hang in there. I may take some calls, I may not. until tomorrow, we'll see. Oh boy. Yeah. I mean, these are people that are out in public. It's pretty scary. I wanted to play this. This is an interesting thing. This is an African American woman who's commenting on white people and the obligations that she thinks white people have about past racial injustices that happened before any of us and our parents and even our grandparents were alive.
Okay, y'all, so I want to address something. So white people think that they don't need to be sorry for anything that their ancestors did. They don't need to right wrongs that their ancestors did. They think that, at least when it comes to black people, they think that it has nothing to do with them and that it's their free from any kind of judgment because of it. But the fact is that you as white people are obligated to right wrongs that your ancestors did.
Okay, now I'm going to play the rest of this. This is interesting. She's talking about the old white man's burden, right? That is, white people, we have an obligation to undo the wrongs that were done by those Democrat slave owners. Now, I got news for you. Not all of us white people are descendants of slave owners, okay? I'll play the rest of this. But I want to ask you guys this question. And this is a very serious question. We'll hear the rest of what this misguided lady has to say. She says that white people have an obligation to right the wrongs of our ancestors when it comes to wrongs that were done to, I guess, black people and others. Really? Why? Because we're white? We have no connections to these people. This is my question. Does she, as an African American woman, have an obligation to right the wrongs of black people that are committing crimes in this country today, like the guy on the subway? Right? If you're black, do you have a moral obligation to the crimes committed by black people? Like the murder of the Ukrainian refugee. When you put it that way, it doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? I'll rewind it and play the whole thing because I want to hear her whole context. Maybe she redeems herself at the end.
Okay, y'all, so I want to address something. So white people think that they don't need to be sorry for anything that their ancestors did. They don't need to right wrongs that their ancestors did. They think that, at least when it comes to black people, they think that it has nothing to do with them and that it's their free from any kind of judgment because of it. But the fact is that you as white people are obligated to right wrongs that your ancestors did. You're obligated to do that. And you have done it for every other ethnicity, if you will, besides black people. So, yeah, you should feel bad because you have not corrected wrongs that your ancestors did. The responsibility falls on your shoulders.
Now, she's talking about righting the wrongs of the slave owners. I'll play a little bit more. I mean, this is crazy to me.
You shouldn't be sleeping good at night, and you should feel guilty.
Really?
Because you have the ability to right wrongs.
Well, let me ask you this. Do African Americans have an obligation to right the wrongs of their African ancestors that captured and sold other Africans into slavery to the slave traders of Europe? Yeah. I don't know, since everyone's got to be responsible for their ancestors. She's serious as a heart attack.
I see these videos about white people wanting black people to stop talking about it and don't make me feel bad about myself and I'm not a bad person, and yes, you are.
Oh.
You absolutely are.
See, now, the reason I played this is because of that right there. See, this type of logic, this type of racist thinking that you're hearing here is why this Ukrainian girl was murdered on the subway. See, you know, there is so much anti-white racism that's promoted by the left. And sadly, many liberal African Americans believe that all white people are evil because a long time ago, some white people owned some black people that we had nothing to do with. You know, this subway killing was a racially targeted hate crime on her because he thought like she thinks. This is crazy talk. But to her, it makes plenty of sense.
And so now I see these videos about white people wanting black people to stop talking about it and don't make me feel bad about myself. And I'm not a bad person. And yes, you are. You absolutely are.
All white people are bad.
You are. Because you have chosen not to right wrongs that you know that your ancestors did, that you know that benefit you. And we as black people, we're not going to stop talking about it. We're not going to stop reminding you. We're not going to stop. If you don't want to hear it, too bad. Because you can't shut us up. And
she just said all white people are evil, all white people are bad, and all white people owe a debt to black people. Do you think the guy on the subway train thought that way in Charlotte? I bet you he did.
And so you want to feel good about yourself, but you're not going to feel good about yourself because we're going to constantly remind you of your responsibility and your obligation to right the wrongs that have been done to our ancestors. And not just to our ancestors, the wrongs that are still being done to black people. And you are well aware of them. You are well aware of how black people are being treated. That's why you voted for Trump.
Whatever that means.
So, yeah. That's what it is.
That's what it is. Oh, man. Oh, CR just gifted 5 memberships to people in the chat. And those get, you know, when you do that, they get randomly assigned. Thanks so much, CR. And remember, if you're a member to the channel, you get access to the members-only emojis, and your name stands out in the chat room in a special color so I can see you better and everybody else can see you better in the chat room. But this type of thinking is what this monster in Charlotte was thinking. White people are all evil. White people are all bad. And white people all are racist just because they're white. And this girl being from Ukraine, she has no role in her family's Ukraine. They're Russian. Ukraine's part of Russia. If you're new to my program, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Whenever I'm in the studio live streaming, I'm always taking live calls. I'm here every day of the week, live streaming and taking calls. I have a morning show that I do Monday through Friday, but I'm also here on the weekends, and this is obviously my afternoon show. So if you're new, welcome to the channel. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe and like the video. And if you're already subscribed and like the video, if you guys could do me the favor of taking the link from this episode and sharing it on all your social media, that really helps a lot. It helps grow the channel, grow the community, and get all this good information out. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Again, my name's Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Those of you on hold, well, I'll be back tomorrow morning. So if you stay on hold, you'll be first in line tomorrow morning when I go live. Take care. Thanks for watching.